Hello, I'm Jenny Birchmiller. I co-founded Loving Shepherd Ministries Cancer Redemption Project with my late husband, Zach Birch. It's been 10 years since Zach was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in June of 2010. At that time, doctors gave us the hard reality that he didn't have very long to live. As I think back on the early days after Zach was diagnosed, my mind can get overwhelmed with the difficulty of the journey. As I process through the feelings, I am thankful that I can also reflect on the goodness of God. Who would have ever guessed that Zach's cancer would inspire thousands of people around the country to take up the cause of the fatherless and provide funding so that nearly 100 Haitian children could be given loving Christian homes? Who would have guessed that people's generosity would go beyond building homes and allow us to provide a school and a church to benefit an entire Haitian community? By the grace of God, Zach was able to travel to Haiti several times before he died to meet many of the children with their new families. Zach's vision for Haiti extended far beyond the 3 short years he battled cancer and eventually went to be with Jesus. Zach wanted to make sure that the children were cared for long into the future, eventually becoming strong Christian leaders who would bring hundreds or thousands, even entire communities to Christ. And thanks to the work of Loving Shepherd Ministries, that vision is unfolding as I speak. In the last years of his life, Zach also wanted to inspire others going through difficulties to redeem them for God's glory and to inspire all of us to live with an eternal perspective, to give our time, our talent, and our treasure to the glorious cause of Christ. Zach has been gone for 7 years, but his message and legacy live on. Let's listen carefully as he shares his heart and vision before he died, and remember his timely call to action. We only have one life. Let's live it to the fullest for Jesus Christ.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2010. Unless God provides an absolute miracle, I will be going home soon. As I think of home, my heart is stirred with passion for my true home, as well as a burden for the many lost souls that need Jesus. Early on in my battle with cancer, I realized there seemed to be 2 choices when faced with suffering. We can choose to let our suffering make us better, or allow it to make us bitter. If we allow the suffering to make us better, we can redeem the trials for God's glory. We can face our trials with godly courage. This courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the realization that someone is more important than fear. And that someone is Jesus Christ, the one worthy of all of our praise. Christ is able to use my life, my cancer, and even my death for His glory. I actually get excited at times about the possibilities of how the Lord can use my cancer to accomplish His purposes. My greatest desire is that just one more soul will be in heaven because of my cancer. I believe that we were made to give ourselves to this great eternal cause of sharing the gospel of Christ. This truth and the eternal perspective carries me through my deepest suffering and darkest nights. One way that God has redeemed my cancer is through the Cancer Redemption Project. May God be given all the glory and honor for the Cancer Redemption Project. God bless you with personal redemption and a passion to redeem your situation for the glory of God and His kingdom. May we serve Him with all of our hearts until we finally make it home.
I want to thank everyone who has supported my family and the Cancer Redemption Project over the past years. God has truly done a miracle in Haiti through your prayers and generosity. I also want to thank Ed Schwartz, who recently wrote a biography about Zach called Only One Life. As I read the book, I was again humbled by the fact that God chose to use our family to glorify Him during such a hard season of our lives. I found myself asking what God wants me to do today, big or small, to further His kingdom. I encourage you to get a copy of the book and read it with an open heart. asking God if He wants you to reconnect with the Cancer Redemption Project in any way. Or maybe He's calling you to move forward with something else He has placed on your heart that will glorify Him. Either way, I think you will be blessed by reading our family story. I'd like to close with one of my favorite Bible verses. 1 Peter 1:7 says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto the praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. God bless you.
What would you do if you had 6 months to live? Well, what's stopping you from doing it right now?
What would you do if you knew that you had 6 months to live? What would you say? Where would you go? What would you give? As you fought the fight and lived the dreams, ain't it funny how life isn't what it seems? For we all as a vapor pass away, and not one of us is promised to live another day. So redeem the time and strive to give, like a child of God who has 6 months to live. What would you do if you knew that you had 6 months to live? Would you leave your cares behind and follow Him? Would you preach His word across the sea? Would you help the hungry child so in need? For we all as a vapor pass away, and not one of us is promised to live another day. So redeem the time and strive to give, like a child of God who has 6 months to live. What would you do if you knew that you had 6 months to live, till you stood before the mighty judgment throne, to give account for what you've done with your life and with God's only begotten Son? For we all as a vapor pass away, and not one of us is promised to live another day. So redeem the time and strive to give, like a child of God who has 6 months to live.